A nurse places a healthy baby next to its weak twin.
And what happened left everyone speechless.
A nurse places a healthy baby next to her passing away twin, and what happens next proves that God exists. A true miracle
That would leave everyone with their mouths open.
and tears in their eyes. Before everything transpired, Catalina was just like any other high school girl,
Striving to make it to college.
and become a successful professional.
Her parents, who were successful dentists, had instilled in her the desire to continue their legacy
They believed that this would spare her from experiencing the struggles.
and sacrifices they went through.
Catalina was confident that this was her fate.
That after graduation and joining her parents in their practice,
She would find a compatible partner to spend the rest of her life with.
she had a strong conviction of not having children.
Despite her fondness for them and her ability to connect with them,
She valued her freedom too much.
and feared the difficulties of raising a child,
In today's world,
despite having everything she needed and more. Catalina found out that having it all wasn't always a good thing. When she went to college,
she was faced with the reality of living on her own. She had her own apartment in the city,
but she soon realized that there was no one to take care of the household chores.
and she had to pay someone to do it for her.
However, this
Came out of cost,
and she soon realized that
she was spending too much money on both household help and her lifestyle, such as going out with friends and buying clothes.
jewelry and perfumes, so
She faced a decision between preserving her social life or sacrificing it for her personal life, and she opted to maintain her social life. She was forced to learn how to cook, clean, and operate a washing machine.
to manage her expenses and keep track of her payments.
This is when she realized that her parents
Had never taught her how to take care of herself and had made everything so easy for her. She came to the conclusion that
taking care of oneself was challenging enough.
and having to care for someone else would only compound the difficulties. Thus, she firmly decided not to have children and underwent a procedure to have
Her fallopian tubes tied. Despite taking precautions,
She still lived her life as if
she were fertile every day and similarly expected her partners to take the necessary precautions. She was close to earning her degree as a dentist.
and had already started working with her parents. By that time, Catalina was in a committed relationship with her
Boyfriend for over a year.
Her parents approved of him, as he came from a good family, was amicable, and had established a successful business.
He had also expressed his intention to marry Catalina, making her parents happy. Furthermore, he seemed genuinely in love.
Giving them everything they could ask for.
However, Catalina,
Who had decided so long ago not to have children, had never taken the time to talk sincerely with her.
boyfriend, about the subject,
He knew that his girlfriend did not want to have children,
and neither did he.
but he had never delved into the matter.
Several years later,
He did not know that Catalina was talking about never having children,
until the night he asked her to marry him,
just minutes after she had accepted his proposal.
the subject suddenly came up, and he told her that it would be,
Ideal for them to have a child between 30 and 35 years old.
and then she surprised him by saying that she did not want children, either at 30
Or 35 or ever.
That upset him in a way that no one had imagined.
And blinded by anger,
He took her by force,
without any precaution, wishing that she would get pregnant.
right there and now,
Catalina's body was battered, and her heart was broken.
and as soon as she could,
She ran to her parents' house. Although she didn't tell them anything,
they assumed she had argued with her boyfriend and hesitated to let it happen.
the next day, when he came to pick her up, however, they didn't think it was anything serious,
And didn't want their daughter to miss.
the opportunity to beat with such a nobleman. To Catalina's surprise, he spoke to her as
If nothing had happened, and asked her
if they were going to tell her parents at once that they were getting married, or if she would prefer to wait a while to announce the engagement formally. She could not believe her ears. She told her that after what he had done the night before,
there was not the slightest,
possibility of them getting married.
and threw him out of the house.
When he left, she told her parents the whole truth, who gave her their full support.
And told her that she could stay with them as long as she wanted. She took an emergency pill to avoid pregnancy,
And finally,
she was able to calm down, trusting that everything would be all right. That she would resume her profession
and continue with her life as she had always done.
but nothing went well.
Because despite everything she had done to avoid it, Catalina was pregnant with twins.
The news hit her like a bucket of cold water.
And she went into depression for several months. Her parents were by her side
All the time,
and so were friends,
everyone tried to calm her down and help her.
but it was not until
She was a month away from giving birth that Catalina
was able to accept
her reality.
and reconcile herself with the idea of being a mother. She achieved it.
Because the day, in an ultrasound, she saw that
Her children were holding hands in the womb.
they loved each other so much. Even without being born, that Catalina
Understood that she would also love them with all the strength of her heart. She knew it was
not going to be easy.
but she had faith that
The hardest,
part was over.
namely what she had to live through with her ex-boyfriend. Unfortunately,
Catalina was wrong because no amount of pain could have prepared her.
for the pain a mother can feel at the prospect of losing a child. The delivery went smoothly.
But minutes later,
The doctor told
her that she,
to prepare herself,
because one of the two babies might,
not survive. He was smaller than normal,
and had been born with a
very weak heart,
and his heartbeat was getting slower and slower,
while the other baby
had been born,
completely healthy and at his normal weight.
and Catalina felt herself going crazy. When she received the news,
The weaker baby
could not be held in her arms because he had been taken directly to an incubator. As she held,
her other son,
she saw in the
expression on his face
that he was also suffering from feeling separated from his little brother.
the one he had held in his hands and with Mummy had shared the womb for so long. So she asked a nurse to take
The baby too,
the incubator with her other son,
so that if it was God's will, at least the two babies could.
say goodbye. The nurse agreed, even though it was not allowed.
And only a few minutes had passed
When a supremely tender scene brought tears to her eyes, there was the healthy baby who had found a
way to embrace his little brother, as if he wanted to transmit his strength to him, and the miracle that no one believed possible happened.
It only took a few minutes of cuddling for the baby's heart to start beating normally. It only took a couple more weeks in medical care
For Catalina to leave the hospital with.
her two babies completely happy because they were both in perfect health.
Love had worked a miracle, and she would never
Tired of giving thanks every day of her life for her
two children